Already on 90.
Let everybody in? Yeah. Okay.
I am the best.
I saw. Oh, she's in. Okay.
Mute myself. All right, we have a few people that are not on audio. And looks like we have all the board members in. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and start. We have quorum, and hopefully the audio is okay for everyone connecting through on the attempting our first live meeting here. So hopefully, again, all the audio is working. We are recording on Zoom on the cloud and also live streaming on YouTube. All the members here in the room are spaced out as much as we possibly can and have masks and headsets on for the record. And we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7:40. And so we'll call to order the Region 9 Board of Education regular meeting at 7:40 on October 20th. And our first item of business is to get my video going and to the approval of minutes. And we've got 3 different sets of minutes to go through this evening. So we'll try to do those pretty quickly here. There are minutes from the September 15th Region 9 Board of Ed regular meeting, the September 29th Region 9 special meeting, and the September 30th ER9 Joint Boards of Education special meeting. So I'll look for board members. We can take each one individually if we want to and move through them pretty quickly. I'm going to have a motion for the first set of minutes.
So moved.
All right. And a second.
Second.
Mary Lee.
Mary Lee, second. Okay. All right. Any discussion, changes on the minutes for September 15th? All right, hearing none, all in favor of the minutes for September 15th, aye? Raise your
Aye.
hand. Looks like unanimous. All right, so that one passes. The next one is the September 29th.
So moved.
Mike,
Second, Karen.
and there's the second. All right, any discussion or changes for the minutes for the 29th? All right, all in favor for the minutes on the 29th? If I say aye, looks like all the members, so 7-0 passes. And the last set of minutes from the October 9 special meeting. Oh, sorry, that's August. Wrong one. Ugh.
September 30th.
September 30. Thank you. Sorry. The September 30th. Sticking together there page-wise. All right, September 30th. Motion
So-
for those.
So moved, Cheryl.
Cheryl,
Second.
and second, Mrs. Maureen.
Warren.
All right. Any discussion changes? No? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
If by aye, and raise your hand. All right. Any abstentions? One abstain. All right. So passes 6-0 with one abstention from Mike. All right. All right. That gets us through all the minutes. And then we'll move on to the third item on the agenda for the evening, which is student comment from Max. So Max, will take it away.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I know you guys have the noteworthy news in advance. And I know that there's a lot of items to cover tonight, so I don't want to take up too much time. What I really wanted to do was highlight the student perspective once again, as I've kind of been doing throughout this COVID learning, and see if you guys had any questions about what we students have been experiencing, and I can hopefully give some insight into my personal experience and to the experience of my peers.
Thank you.
Are there any questions?
Yep, that sounds good. Go ahead.
Sure. I'm sorry, I just couldn't hear. Was someone starting to ask a question or?
Oh, no, we thought you were going to present something, say something, tell us what your perspective is first, or you
Sure.
want us to ask questions.
Well, either way, I know you guys have the noteworthy news, so I can just say for, since our last meeting, obviously we've stayed in hybrid. I know Dr. Pin will be talking a little bit about the future of our hybrid and what the students are feeling, because she has some survey results and some statistics about what we're looking at going forward. As far as how, I think we've been doing, last time I talked a little bit about how it's obviously been an adjustment for everyone, and it's definitely been difficult for a lot of students. I think adding the Wednesday back for the high school has been a big addition. For me personally, that all distance learning day was something that was difficult, that kind of brought us back to the spring a little bit, that I personally didn't love. So having one of the cohorts in and the other cohort just staying in their normal hybrid model for that Wednesday has been effective, I think. And based on what I've been hearing from my peers, I think people enjoy either staying at home for the normal Zoom learning versus being in school rather than an all distance learning day. So I think that change has been effective. And other than that, I think it's still the same. I think students are still taking some time to get acclimated into just what this is going to look like going forward. I think, like I kind of predicted last time, I've slowly seen some of my peers start to be like, okay, well, if this is where we're at, then this is where we're going to be at, and it's kind of going to have to be okay. But because of that, I think we've started to make the best of it, and we've started to make it okay. I've had a couple quizzes and stuff from home now. I've starting to get used to, my daily routine of what an at-home day looks like, as I know some of my peers are too. And everyone's still adjusting, everyone's still acclimating, but things are headed in the right direction. And I think the more we continue our conversations with one another and keep adjusting and keep making changes.
What's the most difficult thing, do you think? Like, you said some, students are having difficulty. What's the most difficult thing? Is it being what the day looks like when you're in school, or is it the remote learning?
Yeah, I think it's probably the remote learning, because the in-school day, while different, is still an in-school day, and it's still a normal in-school day. Obviously, I mean, Dr. Harrison came into my choir class today, so that's something that's very different. We're in the auditorium instead of in the choir room, and we have to be 12 feet instead of 6 feet because we're singing. So things like that are still difficult. But I think as a whole, students are still finding the at-home learning and being on Zoom for 8 hours a day. It's a difficult thing, as I know everyone's experienced. Zoom fatigue is a really real thing, and it's something that we all have to kind of endure. Some of my teachers have been giving great tips. Turning off self-view so you don't have to stare at yourself for a 42-minute class period has been something that I think is kind of effective, because it keeps you from just looking at yourself constantly, and just focusing on the teacher and not all your other classmates as well. But yeah, the biggest struggle, I would say, is definitely still the at-home learning and just getting used to what that looks like. Since the last time we spoke, I think I had mentioned this in my last talk, I had my first, at-home discussion over Zoom for a lot of those discussion-based classes. And different teachers are kind of getting into the swing of their different things. So some teachers really like using the breakout rooms and having kids talk amongst themselves, and the teacher pops in every once in a while. And other teachers have had just everyone in the big Zoom room talking with one another. And we use the raise hand function under participants, and that has seemed to work really well. So each teacher is kind of using their own thing, and everyone's getting as adjusted as we can. But yeah.
There's more interaction now than there was before, like within the online learning classrooms.
Yeah. It's like I said, it took some time, as I think we all expected, for teachers to kind of get in the groove and I was joking with my friends the other day, each teacher has their own kind of Zoom style. And it just depends on what they think is most effective for their class. So obviously a choir Zoom is going to be extremely different from an English Zoom, which is going to be extremely different from a math Zoom. And as each teacher has kind of learned what works most effective for them, my math teacher, for example, they've realized that the smartboard actually wasn't the best way to go, even though that's what they've been teaching for forever. So now they just use like the document camera and write on a piece of paper and present that to us at home. So as each teacher has learned what works best for their specific subject and for their specific style of teaching, it's gotten better on both ends, I think. And that just comes with time.
All right, board members, any other questions for Max? Looking around the room and on the meeting.
Oh, wait, I have one more quick question. Max, you're a
Sure, go ahead.
senior this year?
I am, yeah.
How's the whole college thing going? Is that,
Yeah, I'm right in the middle of it right now. I have some applications due in I guess it's less than 2 weeks now, November 1st. It's difficult. It is because especially not being able to, I had a whole college tour planned for April and obviously that went down the drain. So it's been hard, but I think schools have been trying their best with some of these virtual information sessions and other things like that. But it's been nice that a lot of schools have been accommodating in going test optional. That piece of it has been nice because I have a lot of friends who we had the in-school SAT, but besides that one, a lot of friends haven't even been able to take one. It's definitely hard trying to learn about schools that you want to go to when you can't go to any of the schools in the first place. But everyone's trying their best, and I think it's kind of become a little bit of a group effort to, as I think a lot of things have in these past few months, to just kind of learn about schools and learn from people who went there and alumni and everything like that. But yeah, it's definitely been a challenge, but nothing we can't handle.
thank you.
No problem.
All right, thank you. Any other questions from board members? Okay, all right, then we will, thank you, Max, we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And you can stay on if you want, or go back to studies and college applications, either way. All right, we'll move on then to item number 4, public comment. And for any members of the public that would like to speak, if you can either raise your hand in the window or the symbol, the little hand symbol in the chat area. If you're on a mobile phone, because it looks like a couple people are on mobile, it's *6 to unmute and *9 to raise your hand. And if you could limit your comments to 2 minutes or less and identify yourself, name and address first so we can get it for the record, I would appreciate it. So Cheryl, if you can help me look for other people and other board members looking for people. Any members of the public, if you'd like to comment, please raise your hand. So far, I don't see anyone.
I just looked through the whole thing and see anything.
Okay,
No.
I don't see anyone. All right. All right, so then we'll move on then from public comment to item number 5 on the agenda, board member comments. Any members of the board like to comment? Mike?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask, I know typically, first of all, nothing is typical, this time of year, but typically in October, we do academic reports. Obviously, there was no standardized testing results to be able to present, but I was just wondering if we're going to have some sort of a presentation at some point, maybe of, college acceptances or, processes, some sort of academic presentation at some point. I mean, next thing you know, we're into the budget season and then it's, it's all about, preserving programs and numbers and stuff. But obviously as a Board of Education, our primary concern and focus is on learning. And so I kind of feel like even though we're in a different world with, different models of instruction, we still should have some sort of presentation about the academic performance. So is that something down the road that we're,
Yep, that's something we can definitely look at. What do you, in particular, anything you're looking for? SAT scores, PSATs?
Well,
What in
we won't-
particular?
we won't have
any
it.
of those.
We won't,
right
yeah,
away.
we won't have any of those, but I think we had talked about a while back, college acceptances, what happened to last year's cohort as far as the pandemic hitting them, and going into colleges. And I just think it's something we should all be mindful of, that we are prepared. And if there's something we can do to help out this year's seniors, that we're out in front of it. So I just think at some point it would be helpful to do that.
Okay. That's some, Dr. Penn and Paula, that's something maybe we can talk about and have for the November meeting. Good look at that.
Perhaps to capitalize on that, right, in addition to looking at last year's cohort, perhaps a first look at.
Perhaps a first look, in addition to last year's cohort and where they went to school, how many of them deferred, and then to help the seniors this year, if they have preliminary intentions on where they're applying to, or will they also defer or wait until the normal deadlines, or are they like Max, perhaps still moving forward with early action? So it'd be interesting to see how that would affect both last year's enrollment graduates and the upcoming graduates.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll work on that offline and have something maybe for the November regular board meeting. I think it'd be very helpful and timely with kids, the seniors now applying. Might be helpful for them as well. All right, other board member comment? I'd just like to comment again, I appreciate everybody. We're trying out here a meeting live in the building, and so appreciate everyone here with face masks and microphones and headsets, and the other board members at home that are helping us check out, make sure things sound-wise and quality-wise are working okay, and isolating where we need to, and being safe here. So I appreciate everybody, and hopefully everyone at home, the quality is okay, and we'll make adjustments as we go forward here. All right, so we'll move on then to item number 6, which is discussion and possible action. And the first item up is the JBEA bargaining unit agreement for 2021-2024. So I will hand it over to Mike, I think maybe to start us as the chair of the negotiating committee.
Yeah, so I'm happy to provide an overview of the process. I'm wondering though, Mr. Chair, whether we should consider having an executive session briefly maybe, and a breakout, just so that board members can be briefed on the agreement, because I believe our intention is to vote on the agreement tonight. So I move that we add an executive session and invite Dr. Harrison, Dr. Penn, Dr. Pearson-Ugal, and Mr. Rice. And the executive session would be for collective bargaining with the JBEA.
All right, so there is a motion to amend the agenda for the executive session on collective bargaining with board members adding Dr. Penn, Dr. Harrison, Dr. Pearson-Ugal, and Mr. Reese to the meeting. So do you have I think I got everybody, yeah. All right, so second, Gwen, you're in the room. All right, so let's just see here for logistics on this. We can, instead of sending everybody out, probably just go to an we'll create a breakout room and send the board members in, and we can keep everybody else. Everybody else here. So just give me 1 minute while we create the breakout room, and we'll move all the board members and guests into the, or sorry, we need to vote on it, but When we do that, we'll get the room set up. So let me quickly find everybody here. Is that, Cheryl, can you see the room as well to help add people? I'll do it here really quickly. While we're doing that, we'll go ahead and before we move everybody, I've got it, Cheryl. So we'll go ahead and for board members, all in favor of the motion, I'm going to say aye. All
Aye.
opposed? No. Okay, so the motion carries to go into executive session. So for members of the public, just give us a minute here. We're going to go into a breakout session to discuss the agreement, and then we'll come back into the main room with everyone else. And yes, we'll need to pause the use too. Thank you for that reminder. Yeah, if you
Just
can
gonna say
pause that
yeah.
while I'm getting people into the room here. I think I've got everybody. All right. Okay, so let me pause. And stop the recording. Just gonna open the session here. Give me 1 second. We're making sure we turn off all the recording. And
I was gonna make just